The state of smartwatches on Android has, unfortunately, been relatively unimpressive so far. With Google's Wear OS platform, it's found a decent foundation, but it lacks any real strength when it comes to health tracking features. That's why Google is in the process of buying Fitbit. And so it's worthwhile taking a look at the latest Fitbit Sense and Versa 3 to get an indication of what Google is potentially outright buying. Thanks for watching 9to5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. Let's kick things off by talking about the design. Myself and many of my colleagues have always been a fan of round watches, but Fitbit opts for a square design. And to be honest, it actually works. There are some Apple Watch vibes to any extent, but in any case, the hardware itself is sturdy and well put together. We're sure that the Sense can take a heck of a beating too over the last couple of months, as my colleague Ben can attest to, with his unit actually surviving a couple of faced first drops onto hardwood floors with no damage per se to speak of. One thing you might not like though is Fitbit's new band mechanism. Instead of a classic pin system, Fitbit has a system that's eerily similar to what the Apple Watch offers. It works and gets the job done, but it's worth noting that some third-party bands could slip out of the housing, and also even official bands feel weirdly loose when connected. There are plenty of third-party options out there already to choose from though, which is a nice bonus if you do want to pick one of these up. Another complaint we have is the side, button. On the Versa 2, Fitbit used a physical button on the side of the watch, but the Sense and Versa 3 removed that for a pressure-sensitive area. It works, but it doesn't really work very well. You may need to reach for a bit underneath the actual watch to get the area to fully trigger, as well as having to squeeze uncomfortably hard to get it to activate. The divot that tells you where to press is also very small. Overall, we just wish that Fitbit should have stuck with that physical button, as it worked so much better than this pressure sensitive area. On the software front, Fitbit OS 5 comes pre-installed on these new watches with a refreshed design, some new features and some more on top. Personally, this was my first time using a Fitbit watch for an extended period of time, and so everything felt new to me from the outset. Navigation is simple enough. The button on the side of the watch will always bring you back to your home screen, while a swipe from left to right will go back to whatever you were previously doing. It's a simple concept and similar enough to other platforms that even those switching from under the smartwatch will quickly understand. From the watch face, you can swipe down to access notifications that are stacked in reverse chronological order. The clear all button is pushed all the way to the top of the list. Swiping up reveals a hub of widgets that you can customize that include the weather, various health stats, and shortcuts to specific fitness or health functions. Swiping on the watch face from right to left reveals the app drawer, a 4x4 grid of pages that contain all of your apps which are managed through the Fitbit application on your phone. Finally, a left to right swipe reveals the quick settings panel. Notifications, of course, are a core part of any smartwatch, but during our hands-on period with the Fitbit Sense and Versa, this is one area that has let us down. When connected to multiple devices, some of our notifications were never fully reliable, often even not alerting us on the watch, or at least not lighting up the display to help draw attention to them. When it does work, though, the notifications are mostly easy to read and have clear and easy actions when you expand them fully though. Apps on Fitbit OS 5 work well enough, but it does feel like discovery is lacking. Out of the box, you'll find preloaded apps including Spotify, Starbucks, Alexa, Find My Phone, Pandora, Deezer and more on top. Many of the included apps are simple, such as agenda or alarm apps. There are also apps for weather and today, but we felt the former was adequately covered by the hub and the latter by the full Fitbit app on your phone. Of course, you can also change the watch face on Fitbit smartwatches, though we find this option a little bit lacking too. Fitbit's first-party options are mostly solid, and we do love the Spectrum face that comes default on the Sense model. There's a store full of additional options, but it was pretty rare that we found one that we truly liked. Many of the really good ones are locked behind a paywall, unfortunately, and it feels really odd to pay developers to directly access those faces. I get the idea, but it feels inherently sketchy to buy watch faces when each one has a different method of purchase. As far as performance goes though, we'd probably have to describe it as adequate. The experience is by no means smooth, with noticeable skips and hiccups in the animations, but it's almost not unbearably slow either. Rounding out that software experience though, let's talk about voice assistants. Amazon Alexa has been supported on Fitbit devices for quite some time now, but Sense and Versa 3 are the first options packing Google Assistant. In short, the Google Assistant works wonderfully on Fitbit's latest smartwatches with speedy performance, a decent interface, and the same functionality you've come to know and love. In short, it gets the job done. Naturally, the core of any Fitbit branded product is fitness and health tracking, and both the Sense and Versa 3 shine here especially. On both smartwatches, you'll get step tracking, sleep tracking, and heart rate monitoring. You shouldn't expect perfectly accurate details as with any smartwatch, but Fitbit has been in this game for quite a while, and they are very good at it. These smartwatches can also track a ton of different workouts through the exercise app and help calm your mind with mindfulness sessions on top of the rest of the health features. All of this comes together through the Fitbit app on your phone that displays this data in an easy to manage way, which also is heavy in the details. The main screen shows your core stats such as zone minutes, which is the time you actually spend active, your step count, floors climbed, miles walked, and calories burned. Below that you can find information on your sleep, your heart rate, and more of that on top. Fitbit also shows weekly and daily exercise goals. All of it combines for a good picture of your activity and ends up being pretty encouraging, at least for you to continue to get better throughout a week. It's the app that really ties all of this together properly. Wear OS, Samsung and Apple watches can also track a lot of this data, but Fitbit puts it together pretty well. This is exactly though what Google needs, and with a modern design courtesy of Google, we'd imagine that all of this would come together pretty nicely, at least if that Google and Fitbit deal does eventually work out. On the Fitbit Sense 2, there are some additional features. The most notable is the needed sensors and software to take an electrocardiogram or ECG. This is something that not every single smartwatch has, with Fitbit being in good company with Apple and Samsung in supporting the feature, at least in the US. We can't speak for how it compares, but the feature works rather quickly and pretty reliably. The Sense also features an EDA sensor and skin temperature sensor. This allows further insight into your state of well-being, but we don't think these features should make or break your decision to purchase. These are details that most people simply don't need or don't want to know anyway. In terms of lifespan, Fitbit promises around 6 days of battery on both the Sense and Versa 3. In our testing periods with the Sense, that claim doesn't quite match up though. On average, we'd see the 20% low battery warning after around 3 to 4 days of full charge. To combat this, it does make sense to charge the watch up every few mornings to ensure it lasts for an extended period though. The battery life on the Fitbit Versa 3 is considerably better. You'll be able to hit that 6-day estimate with relative ease, though turning on features such as the always on display can quickly ruin that total. Heck, we have to say 4 days is still good, meaning we're sure you'll be happy with either option. Another bit of good news with these latest releases is that charging is easier than it ever has been before. The magnetic charger included with both of these watches is a big step up over the awkward clamp that has been used in previous years. It's a strong connection that always seems to line up perfectly, though we do wish it worked on both sides of the device. As it stands, you'll have to place the watch on a charger in the correct orientation, otherwise it won't line up correctly. A small nitpick, but one that has frustrated us more than once. Overall, we have to say Fitbit has struck a good balance this time around. The latest Wear OS smartwatches are better smartwatches compared to the Fitbit Sense and Versa 3, but Fitbit obviously absolutely destroys Google Fit when it comes to fitness tracking and, more importantly, health tracking. So with that said, which option is the one for you? Actually, we think the choice seems rather obvious. The Fitbit Versa 3 is $229 and has 90% of the features of the $329 Sense. For the vast majority of people, it's probably the better choice of the two. But with all of that said, let us know your thoughts down in the comments section below as to which is the better smartwatch and which is the better option for you. But as always, this is Damon with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.